Hi there, my name's Beth, and today is Self-Discovery September number 3. And today's topic is my relationships with people. So this one is going to be like friendships, relationships, family, stuff like that. And I kind of touched on some of the thing in the sexuality one. So if you haven't watched that, I would say go watch that because some of the stuff I might bring up again here, and I don't want you to get confused. So, um, yeah, so relationships with people. I was born into a family with my mom and dad, and then I have an older brother and an older sister. And I've always been the most mellow of the five of us. Um, my mom and sister are very similar in their ways, and my dad is very closed off, which I find myself sometimes like that. But that's more of a mental health one, which will be next week. And then my brother is pretty mellow as well, but um, I don't know. I don't remember a lot about him, but the relationships with these. So my mom and I have developed a closer relationship as I've gotten older, and that's more of like a friendship rather than a strictly um, maternal child bond. But it's like there's still very clear power balance in that sense, and I put quotes around that because, yeah, um, my dad and I have a good relationship, but it's changed as I've gotten older. So I feel like I've gotten closer to my mom as I've gotten older and distanced myself from my father as I've gotten older. So my parents are still married, so they still live together. Um, my sister and I, again, as we've gotten older, I've gotten a lot closer with her. I've always been close to my sister, but as we've aged, I've definitely gotten a lot closer. And I think that might be because my energy balances out hers where it does with my mom's as well. And I see their similarities and I understand how I balance both of them and how they balance me. And then with my brother, he has not lived with us since for almost 10 years now. So it's harder to have a changed relationship, but we've always been pretty close. Um, I mean, he's like, we are still very close when we see each other, and I don't know, we have a good relationship. So, uh, yeah, so that is where my beginnings began, I guess, in a sense. Now with friendships, I've never been one to have a ton of friends, and a ton of very close friends is not even an option. I like to maintain a few very close friendships, and other than that, I have more of what I would consider like an acquaintances or a a casual friend, I guess we'll say. Because these are people who I don't see or like I don't maintain a close relationship with in a friendship sense, but when we do see each other, it's not like we don't know anything about each other. So they're more of like casual friends, and then I have close friends. And I have about three or four, I would say three close friends, and yeah, three or four close friends, and then probably three or four like casual friends, and the rest of the people are kind of just like, I know you because I know this person. So that might also fall into the casual friend category. But so casual friends I keep at a slight distance. I tend to be shy, which doesn't help my relationships with people. And it takes me a while to warm up to people. And in my sexuality video, I told you I was demisexual, which means I have to form an emotional bond with someone before I find them attractive or before I find them attractive in a sexual way, I guess. Now, I would say kind of the same with friendships. I feel like I have to form like a bond with someone before I can let them into who I am as a person, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, let me know down below and I will try to explain it better, maybe. Or if anyone else is understanding what I mean and somebody else doesn't, let me know or let them know. So, friendships. Yes. So I talked about one girl in my sexuality video who I met at college, and we were very close to the point where people thought we were dating. And I talked about another girl who, again, who's currently my best friend, and we are very close to the point where people used to think we're dating. She has a girlfriend now, so it's gets different, but we're still very close. So, both of those girls I've gotten to a very close friendship with, and I do call it a friendship because it never got anywhere past a friendship. It's always been like we're just very close friends. It's never been a relationship or anything even resembling that of a relationship, besides we spend a lot of time together. And I mean, the definition of relationship is different for everyone, but I also, in my sexuality video, said I'm heteroflexible, so this is where my definition of what a relationship versus what a friendship would be. And I feel like it's very similar. The only difference, actually, I don't know what the difference would be, because as someone who takes a while to warm up to people, and as someone who needs an emotional bond with someone to find them sexually attractive, there really isn't a huge difference, minus the fact that I wouldn't find the people I consider friends to be sexually attractive, if that also makes sense. So this is where the asexual part of me is like, what is happening? So friendships, I feel like friendships, and I've only had one relationship, and it was more like we dated for a couple of months, but that's a whole other thing. So the friendships I have maintained with these two girls plus the other few friends I've had have been amazing, and it's never like ended. The one girl from college moved back to the United States. I live in Canada. I moved away from where we went to school back home. So there was distance, but we still talk occasionally, and it's not the same, but it's not like we just ended a friendship. The girl I am currently best friends with, we're great, and she has a girlfriend now, and it's different because I feel like the friendship balance has kind of shifted a bit, but everyone grows, everyone changes, and it's part of life. So we're still great friends. I've also found that I have better friendships, casually better friendships with guys, but close friendships better with girls. Which is weird because it's easier for me to just strike up casual conversations with guys in a buddy kind of way, but it's easier for me to maintain a close friendship with females in like a best friends kind of way, which I don't understand, and that's something I might need to do more self-discovery about. So, we've covered family, kind of. We've covered friendships to a point because there's always more. So, relationships. As I said, I've only had one, and I wouldn't really consider it a relationship. Um, it was to a point, I guess. I don't know. That is a whole other thing, but yeah. So, I decided, I mean, I've used Tinder on and off for a couple of years now, because I get sick of it. It's one of those things, as somebody who needs to form an emotional bond as a demisexual, it's very hard to use because I can't just go off of, oh, you have a face that looks attractive, because who knows what this person's going to turn into. And so I met this person off of Tinder, and he also went to the same school I did, and he was in a different program, all that. So there was also a bit of an age difference. He was older, but not a ton, but like a few years, and he was definitely more experienced than I was, but it's weird to talk about right now. So I dated him for about 2.5 months. We saw each other for like first month and a bit, month and a half, almost daily, because we were in school in close proximity to each other, so we could just hang out whenever we wanted. And then once school ended, I feel like he got distant, and I don't know if it was something I did or if it was he just didn't want to deal with distance, because even where we were living, or are living, I guess, it's only about a 20-minute drive away from each other, so I wouldn't call that a huge distance, but to some people it might be. So hey, that's his choice, and yeah. So it's gonna be a long little rambly video. So yeah, the first like month and a half were great. He and I got real close. Again, that bond. We hung out like all the time, and then it just kind of like fizzled out a bit. And then for like a month, so there were like 2.5 months where we were like actually seeing each other, and then probably a month or so where we were just texting, and then I kind of stopped texting because he wasn't starting conversations. So I figured, like, I'm not just always doing a one-sided communication. And I find that with my friendships as well. If I feel like friendships are turning into I'm always starting conversation, I tend to cut them off. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's kind of self-preserving in a way, because I don't have to constantly be the one starting conversations. And if somebody's not putting in the effort that I am, then I'm not always putting in the effort. Like relationships, friendships, everything, it's a two-way street. And if people aren't going, like, yes, people do have other things going on, I totally understand, but a text saying, hey, I'm busy, takes 2 seconds. Or I'll talk later, or I'll talk in a week, something like that. It's really not that hard. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, and most people do check their phones at least once in the morning or before bed. So yeah, it's self-preserving in a way for me to just kind of cut off communications, but I'm never closed to the idea of communicating with people if they want to start again. Like, it's, if you want to put in the effort, I'm down to put in effort as well. But yes, so that relationship fizzled. I went back on Tinder. That's kind of how I knew it fizzled, because I saw him back on Tinder, and I guess that was the point where I realized that we weren't a thing anymore. If you want to know more about that little period in my life, um, ask questions below. We'll see. I'm not gonna tell specifics because that's his privacy too. And yeah, so that fizzled. I went back on Tinder. I'm currently not on Tinder because, again, it just, oh, it annoys me. So it's one of those things where, like, you always hear that if you stop looking, you'll find someone. And it's not even that. I don't even care about finding somebody. It's that I hate just constantly feeling like I have to, like, have shitty conversations with people. I might do a whole video on my thoughts on Tinder, actually. So, yeah, I'll save that rant for another time. And until next time, this is the end of the video. Until next time, have a great day or a night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you real soon. So, yeah, bye.